G'day, I'm Guy Allen. Welcome to AllMoto. Today we're playing with a Triumph Thruxton R. Now this is the hero bike of the 1200cc parallel twin series. So we've got the T120 as kind of the baseline, and the Thruxtons, and there's two models, the sports versions. Now they're named after a World War II airfield in England that was converted into a race circuit, and why that's significant to Triumph is that they had some big successes with parallel twins there in the late 60s, dominated some important races there. Okay, so the Thruxton series, quite different to the T120, shorter in the wheelbase, different swing arm, different front steering geometry, a little sharper, and the R has a number of features over and above the plain Thruxton, and the most significant of those is probably the suspension, which is the Öhlins rear shocks and the premium Showa front end. Plus we've got upgraded front brakes, you've got stainless exhaust system, lots of little bits and pieces of trim around the motorcycle as well, clearly designed to make the owner feel good about buying a premium product. Now Triumph has done this before with other models in the range. I can think of Street Triple, for example, and Speed Triple, where an R model has bundled up this sort of extra package, if you like, and really it adds up to pretty good value over and above the base model. That's very much the case here. Walk up to the bike, hop on it, fly-by-wire throttle. You've got 3 riding modes. I'm not a huge fan of riding modes on a bike like this. If it were me, I'd be using it in sport pretty much 99% of the time. Anyway, it's there. Tall-ish in the seat, not super tall, but it's not the shortest bike in the range by any stretch of the imagination. There's ABS on board, plus you've got switchable traction control. So a lot of electronics, despite the fact it's meant to be a retro style motorcycle. There's some nice little touches too, speaking of retro, like the injection covers are meant to look like annual carburetors, and there's even a little sort of fake points cover on the side of the engine. When you fire it up and get it going, power delivery is big, fat mid-range. That's what it's about. It's not a big rever. 75 RPM is where it stops. So it's all about that mid-range experience. You ride that flow of torque and power. The gearbox works well, as you'd expect it to. Nice light clutch action to it. That is something that's a real feature about it. Brakes are nice and sharp, light feel to them, very predictable. Absolutely no complaints there. But what I like most is the development riders clearly knew what they were doing. It's all fine to have the premium gear, quite another to have a well-developed motorcycle. And this on the road has this beautiful, compliant ride, but you still know exactly what's going on underneath you. Very reassuring thing to throw through a set of curves. Tips in nicely, very predictable steering, not super fast, but it's not slow either. It's just a nice, light, predictable motorcycle. What it's good at? It's a weekend motorcycle. Take it away overnight, take it down to your favourite bit of road. It's a feel-good piece. It's not something I'd necessarily use to cross the country on. It would do it, but really there are better bikes in the Triumph range for that sort of purpose. It's really all about giving yourself a bit of a treat. Now pricing, that's not the cheapest bike on the planet by any stretch of the imagination. You're talking by the time you put this fairing on the bike, you're probably getting up around the 24 to 25 mark on the road. I think looking at the rest of the range, it kind of stacks up when you look at what's on this motorcycle. It is a significantly better mousetrap than the stocker. So if you can afford it, and a retro bike that's got some real sporting ability and some very nice finishing touches on it, if that appeals to you, I would certainly at least put it on the shopping list and have a look.